Hello and welcome to Friday's edition of Yesterday in Baseball. My name is Luke and the World Series starts tonight. That's right, it's October 24th. We have Game 1 this evening between the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, and I can't wait. We're going to give you guys all the information you need headed into this series so you can look like a nice, well-informed fan in front of your friends, family, whatever. And if you already know this stuff, then props to you. So we're going to do some quick news and notes. We'll hop into, like I said, this kind of World Series preview, look ahead at tonight's game and some of the numbers behind that, and just kind of talk about the series a little bit. So without further ado, let's get into some news and notes from the MLB. So yesterday was certainly a news-heavy day in the MLB, and today we've got some good news, mostly just from around the World Series though. Starting off, Bo Bichette is confirmed on the Blue Jays World Series roster. He suffered a knee injury on September 6th and hasn't played since then. He's been kind of rehabbing, getting ready to go. I covered this yesterday a little bit. He said that he's going to be ready to play whatever role that may be. So it'll be interesting to see if he comes out as a starting shortstop for him or what that'll look like. In other Toronto news, Trey Yesavage is named the Game 1 starter for Toronto. And a little bit of background about Yesavage, he started out the year in Single A, worked his way up. He made his debut in September. I remember covering it on this show that I started on the 1st of September. And I was like, this guy's pretty good. And now he's starting Game 1 of the World Series, so I'm sure that's exciting for him and his family and his friends. And excited for, just the Blue Jays, because that's pretty exciting to see. On to other news, the Dodgers, they said they plan to stick with the same NLCS rotation where Glasnow will go Game 3 and Ohtani Game 4. So that'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. I mean, they were dominant against the Brewers. The Brewers didn't really give them much, and the Blue Jays have been a very good offensive team in October. So it should be a bit more of a challenge, but I'm excited to see how those pitchers face this kind of a lineup. Those are all the basic news and notes we have for Friday. Now let's head into our World Series preview. So we've had a large enough sample size so far in this postseason where I feel comfortable just showing the postseason stats. So disclaimer for both teams, it'll just be postseason stats. So leading off with the Los Angeles Dodgers, they've scored 4.6 runs per game in these playoffs. They've done that to a 770 team OPS, so pretty good. They've faced some tough pitching, but they've been able to get it done. And now keep in mind, they're a wild card team, so they came in, beat the Reds, came in also and took down the Phillies pretty convincingly, and then steamrolled the Brewers, who their pitching was good, and they really did a good job of shutting down the Dodgers. But yeah, it was their offense didn't do a good job. But speaking of good pitching, the Dodgers have a 2.45 team ERA so far in this October, and that's a starter ERA of 1.4. Very lights out. I was talking about it yesterday. I mean, Snell pitched Game 1 of the NLCS, went 8 innings, and was just incredible. And then Yamamoto went 9 innings, only giving up 1 run in Game 2, and Glasnow was great. Ohtani, when his quality starts, 6 scoreless, 10 strikeouts, 3 homers. So, that's pretty amazing. Their relief pitchers are still their kind of main cause for concern. Sasaki's been great at the back end, but some of those relievers in between kind of bridging that gap haven't been great, as they have a 4.88 relief pitcher ERA so far this postseason. So like I said, I think that their starters are just going to have to keep on riding the back of those guys. If the relievers come in, there's a chance that they might give up a few runs, but hopefully those starters can help kind of give them enough of a buffer where those relievers don't have to be picture perfect. On to those Toronto Blue Jays now. They've scored 6.45 runs per game in October to an 878 team OPS, and we saw this against Seattle, and that was the biggest difference in that series, was that the whole lineup could get it done for the Blue Jays. Andres Gimenez hit a pair of homers as well, and he's not a power guy, he's end of the lineup, so they've been kind of firing on all cylinders offensively. It's a long series, and who knows if that'll keep up. But at least considering the ALCS, they got help from everybody. And they also had the best postseason hitter so far in Vlad Guerrero Jr. helping them, and he's just been scorching hot. So overall, I do really like the odds of the Blue Jays offense there, but where it gets a little bit sketchy is their team ERA. They have a 4.36 team ERA, which is almost 2 points higher than the Dodgers. And they have a 3.33 starters ERA. That's been solid. I mean, every guy has been pretty adequate. No one's been, some star-studded guy. Savage was really good in the ALDS, but he wasn't quite that guy in the CS. And this is their biggest concern here for me. The 5.52 relievers ERA. You're going to want to feel comfortable handing the game over to these guys, and it hasn't quite shown yet. And that Dodgers offense is pretty scary. And the Dodgers starters, like I said, they're lights out. So they're really going to have to rely on their offense to get things done and keep pace or set the pace. And they're really going to need their pitching to step up in this series if they want to have a chance. I think they win any game by basically offensive domination. You're not gonna see a 2-0 Blue Jays win or 2-1. So another thing with that, neither team has really been speedy on the base paths. I believe the Dodgers just have 2 steals and the Blue Jays have 1, so I wouldn't expect to see a ton of running except for maybe some pinch runners or something late in the game. But like I said, I do expect a lot of offense from LA with that Blue Jays pitching staff. They're going to do better than they did against the Brewers pitching staff. And I think this whole series is just a matter of, can Toronto keep up offensively? Because that starting pitching, they can't let them go 8-9 innings. They have to try and get into that bullpen as much as they can. And who knows if that'll work still. I mean, if you get it to the 8th, you might see Sasaki come in for a 6-out save, and he has been very good. But I think that's equal of a key for LA. I mean, they're probably not worried about putting up runs, but if you are, you're just going to try to get to that bullpen as well. Work those counts against the starters, get the pitch count up, and chase them from the game. So we'll see. It should be interesting tonight. I mean, in his career, Snell historically hasn't been the pitcher that'll go super deep into games, but he's very effective, and he's been kind of finding that later in his career that he's been able to go deeper into games. And then you Savage, he's good. He's got some crazy stuff, big strikeout guy. But once again, he doesn't really go deep into games. So we're going to probably see some bullpen innings tonight, at least from Toronto. Not sure about LA. Probably at least a couple innings. So we'll see. Bullpens, though, look late in the games. If you have to tune in at any point, I think that's when the action is going to happen. Now, I also want to do some top offensive performers. So the Blue Jays, like I said, they've been the best offense so far all October. And they have 4 players with a higher WRC plus, which is very similar to OPS plus. 100 is going to be your average hitter, and every point above that, like 101, is 1% better than average. So Toronto has 4 players with a higher WRC plus in the playoffs than the first Dodgers player, and that first Dodgers player is Shohei Ohtani with a 143 WRC plus. So he's been 43% better than league average. But let's shine some light on those Blue Jays guys. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has a 280 WRC plus, 180% better than the average hitter. Erdy Clement has a 195 WRC plus. And so those guys are really just setting the pace, leading the pack. And like I said, it's going to be a much harder challenge for these Dodgers pitchers to shut down this offense. Unless something drastic changes, I just think that they're going to give them a handful, and it should be a little bit more interesting than that Brewers lineup. So we'll highlight a couple pitchers real quick. I mean, you have Yamamoto has been excellent for the Dodgers, and Snell has been incredible as well. Snell's ERA so far this postseason is a whopping .86, and that's just not by luck. So they've been excellent so far. The Blue Jays have had a ton of solid starting pitching. I mean, that 3.33 ERA is, no joke. That's solid, but they haven't quite had that lights out ace-like guy. So again, I would expect the Dodgers to at least put up a couple on Savage, even though he might look lights out. So with all that information now, as a whole with this series, I mean, I expect the Blue Jays to get 1 at home here and maybe 1 on the road at least. I think this series at least goes 6 or 7. Probably 6 to the Dodgers if I'm being boring and smart with it. Obviously, I want 7 games and probably a Blue Jays win to be exciting. But truthfully, this Dodgers team is just really good. Their pitching, if you start kind of getting in the Blue Jays' heads and shutting them down, and they start kind of scuffling on offense, I think that'll be a big red flag for the Blue Jays. So that's how I see it. I think the Blue Jays win probably maybe game 2, and they can win, I don't know, like game 3 or 4. And I think that the Dodgers will go back to Toronto, will win this one probably in game 6. So like I said, I think it's just going to be Blue Jays offense versus that Dodgers starting pitching. We'll see what happens, though. I mean, I've been very wrong in many predictions this World Series. But that's our World Series preview. Hope that helps give you guys some information ahead of this game 1 tonight and the following, hopefully 7 games, but who knows. But now let's head into our preview for game 1 of the World Series. Now tonight we have game 1 of the World Series coming at you from Toronto. The Los Angeles Dodgers take on the Toronto Blue Jays at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 o'clock Pacific on Fox. For the Dodgers, we have Blake Snell going. Snell has a 3-0 record this playoffs with a .86 ERA in 21 innings pitched with 28 strikeouts. He's been dominant. I would be shocked if he doesn't come in here and dominate again. Then on Toronto, we have Trey Savage, who's gone 2-1 with a 4.2 ERA in 15 innings pitched with 22 strikeouts and a 1.13 whip. His last couple outings have been a little bit more shaky since that lights-out performance against the Yankees where he went 5.1, striking out 11. He's gone 4 innings, giving up 5 earned runs, and 5.2, giving up 2. We'll see how he fares against this Dodgers offense tonight. I predict Game 1 goes to LA. That's everything from Friday's show. Thank you guys so much for listening. We will be back tomorrow, probably a little bit later in the day, but give you a recap of Game 1. Let me know in the comments your predictions. Who do you guys have for this World Series, and who do you have for Game 1? I'll be interested to hear what everyone thinks. And I apologize for the later show today. I'm a big supporter of an English football club, and they've been struggling for a while. But today it was announced that their terrible owner is gone, so I was pretty excited and following that this morning. So thank you guys for bearing with me, and can't wait for Game 1 tonight. Let me know what you guys think about it tomorrow. Thank you again, and have a great day.